Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com, and today is another Wednesday. It's 11 a.m. Central Time here in Minnesota as I'm broadcasting to you live, and it is December 16th, 2020. I'm going to show you a very fun box slash bag. It looks kind of like a box, but it's called a clutch bag. And I got the idea, first of all, from a friend of mine named Vicki Spicer, who gifted me this cute little box. And then she got the idea from Entwine Designs. So I want to share that to you. And I made a different version of it. I actually shrunk it down and made it a little bit smaller because I had a request for a type of container, a 3D container that would hold gift cards. I did share one on my blog a while back using the round tins, but today I'm going to show you this fun little clutch. And so hers, Entwine Designs, was called a mini clutch bag. I'm calling mine a Petite clutch bag. So we're going to start on that soon. But first of all, I want to just say hello to all of you, and hello to those of you who are new to my channel, new to watching live. It's pretty fun. So this is how it works. Basically, you want to log into your YouTube or Google account so that you are on your account. That way you can actually comment during the live. There will be a live commenting section that you can chime in on. I have a wonderful person who helps me out every week. Her name is Trisha Josephs, and she is the moderator. She helps to answer questions, gives lots of helpful advice, picks the winners for a live drawing. Last week we picked 2 live winners, and so that means that we have 1 prize left over, and so I will be sharing the winner from the after live comments shortly, actually towards the end. So let's do that again. Let's pick 2 live winners today. That was fun because there's a lot more people who join live with me than those who comment afterwards, so try to balance it out, right? I'm seeing the comments scroll in. This is so much fun. I have to apologize to Trisha because once again and she's a smart gal. She knows where to find this information, but I've been trying to send her the link to the YouTube video beforehand and then my list of measurements and supplies. But she's pretty good about dealing with it if I forget. So thank you, Trisha. You're such a sweetheart. You'll see her name. It's got a little wrench symbol next to it. So if you have questions, like she had already mentioned, you just put the @ sign, you type in the @ sign, and then you start typing her name, and it should trigger her name to come up so that you can click on it and tag her in your comment or question. And that's how you can talk to each other too. It's pretty cool. Okay, so on that note, I think I went over all the things that I needed to mention. My blog post that will be connected to this video goes live at 12:15 p.m. Central Time. So that's an hour and 15 minutes after the live has started. And it just kind of gives me that 15 minutes leeway because I try not to go past an hour. In fact, my goal is always 30 minutes, but I can never make that. But anyways, it gives me a few minutes leeway just in case I have to quick go in there and change something. But it's all set to go. You should be able to find close-up photos of the clutch bag that I'm going to share. Another one that I have another version of, and then you'll also see this video embedded in there. You'll see measurements again, you'll see the supplies, and all of those supplies will be linked to my online store. So if you're not familiar with my website, it is StampYourArtOut.com. It's a website / blog. You actually have to scroll down once you're there and just click on my blog because there's all different kinds of sections in there. In fact, explore. It's pretty fun. There is several places where you can actually find the shop button. So if you are interested in getting any of these products, you can click the shop or shop now button when you find it on my website. Now, as I always say, if you are a demonstrator, shop from yourself. You want to get your discount. And if you have a demonstrator already, please shop from them, buy from them, support your demonstrator. Okay, let's go to comments first. So I'm going to pull that up, and you can see the comments that came in last week. Now I have to admit, I did not look at all the comments yet. I feel so bad about that. I was behind this week. I guess that's meant to be when you're working on your Christmas cards and you're trying to get catalogs out to everybody, and then just Christmas, in general, we're trying to get ready for it like everybody else who celebrates. So shopping and wrapping. And so forgive me, I've only gotten halfway through the live comments from last week. So I love the conversations that that happen between you. So I actually highlighted a few of those fun conversations, or caring conversations, I should say, too. Let's see, who was it that mentioned, oh, where is it now? Oh my gosh, maybe I didn't put it in there. One of our friends, she had, oh, here it is. Yes, Barbara Hayes, fractured arm. Ow! Now, you guys know I broke my toe, so, you know, I know what a broken bone is like. It takes so long to heal. So, yes, we're wishing you quick healing, absolutely. So I love it when you guys are caring about each other and you chime in and talk to each other. It's great. I love this. You guys were talking about what I was going to wear before I actually went live. That was fun. And Rose called it my neck fluff. It was pretty fluffy. Karen was commenting about how 39 degrees in where she lives in Florida is super cold to her, and that she has respect for all of us in the northern part of the U.S. And I love how Deborah said, yes, that's shorts weather for us. And then those of you that were commenting live for the first time, Rosaline from Avignon, France, I think that's how you say it. I did take French, so I like to play around with my accent once in a while. And what else? Oh, we had some questions here. So, oh, just comment on this one. Karen was talking about that, you know, you don't want to have people see what's under your couch when a die or some kind of crafting product falls down and they have to get the flashlight under there. And then, Hippie Kansas Girl says, oh no, I think Chucky's under mine. That was funny. That was funny. Okay, so Bonnie mentioned that in her paper pumpkin kit, which you get photopolymer stamps in, they're totally clear. She was saying how, you know, she didn't see any recommendation for getting the Stampin' Pierce mat. And it isn't recommended in there, I don't think. I've never seen it there either, at least. But it's not a requirement either. If you're pressing firmly, you've got a nice, hard, smooth surface when you're using photopolymer stamps, you should be okay. It's just sometimes, you know, people lean in one direction more so than the other. It's kind of like shoes. If you ever look at the bottom of your shoes, you can see how the sole is worn in a certain spot more than another if you walk a little lopsided. Well, sometimes people stamp a little lopsided, and the cushion just kind of helps to even things out. So it's not a requirement for photopolymer stamps, but it does help. And maybe that's why I forget to use it so much, because I'm such an awesome stamper. Just kidding. Anyways, let's see. And then, oh, Trisha, yes. So Trisha, I just wanted to point out too, she is so helpful. So if you have questions, like I didn't have all the samples of the Snowflake Splendor paper, and she helped lead people to seeing that. I also want to show you this comment here. This is what happens when you tag somebody in a post. When you comment, you put the @ sign before their name. It will actually show up orange for them. So anytime someone tags me, I see it in orange. Here, Karen Clark was tagged, but I didn't see it in orange because I'm not Karen. But Karen would have seen this in orange. Okay, let's go to the desktop now, the tabletop, and I'm going to show you the gift that Vicki gave me. So, Vicki Spicer, I miss her so much. I haven't had her helping out in my room since this whole COVID pandemic began. I'm feeling it now too. So Vicki, if you're live with us, I miss you so much. I mean, my boys and my husband will tell you, because they have been helping me with getting the catalogs out and working on team Christmas cards and all kinds of things. But she is a treasure, and I totally get that, you know, we don't need to have, you know, her here and having her exposed to anything that we might have, or her exposing us to anything. It's a scary time, and I'm hopeful that it will end soon or get better soon. But this is the gift that she brought over to my door early November, right before our on stage. It's a Stampin' Up convention that we have, and look how cute this is. I loved it. I love the creases, the folds in it. I love the handle. And so I adapted it, and I made a smaller version. So you can see, let's see, where do I have a gift card? I'll just open this one. You can't see what I'm opening, but I'm opening, here we go. So you can see it's kind of on the large side for a gift card. So I shrunk the version down that I'm doing. there is a link to I can't think of her first name now for some reason. I'm feeling so bad. Angelina Clark is Entwine Designs. Anyways, Angelina also had a larger version, I guess. I don't have a link to that video, but I have a link to the video that shares this side. So you can check that out in the description of my video. So we're gonna make a version today together. We're gonna be using the stamp set called Everything Essential. I had a whole different stamp set picked out, but it's gone because things are selling out. We are now in the end of our August through December catalog period, and so we have sales on items. We have, you know, basically things that are retiring just listed out there. And this stamp set, here it is. This stamp set here was the one I was going to use, Christmas Gleaming. It's gone. I'm so sad. It's so pretty. So sorry if I shared that with you and now you're feeling bad. But Everything Essential is also an awesome stamp set. It's made for more holidays than just Christmas. It also coordinates with a tag type of punch, and it's called the Everything Essential Tag Punch. And I mean, this is an awesome tag just for lots of different things. But when you buy a bundle together, you save 10%. So this particular stamp set is the only thing I'm using. I'm not using the punch with this. Let's pull up the supply list so you can see those things. There we go. Okay, so you can see I don't have the bundle listed, but again, if you search for it, you will find the Everything Essential bundle as a package deal for 10%. We're also going to be using the 'Tis the Season Designer Series paper, which is 6x6. I did that size on purpose because the size that that Angelina shared for her box, you had to have larger than 6x6 designer paper to cover it the way that she did. But I was making a miniature version, and so I adjusted my measurements so that you could use 6x6 paper. We have to use 2 different sheets of it for the size that I made, but you can use any of the variety packs of designer paper this way on the smaller box, the Petite box. And what else? Gold is the accenting. So if you were guessing on what color I was going to wear before the video, because I always show pictures beforehand, I did not put on anything cherry cobbler color or red or even green. Instead, I'm just wearing one of my favorite holiday tops, and then I just put gold on. So it's basic today, no blue fluff. What else do I want to point out? We're going to use the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but with this, you can use the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which will be available on January 5th to everybody, because these dies are small enough to fit in there. And the dies we'll be using are the Stitched Shapes dies. They are amazing dies, kind of an essential set of dies. Like, I would totally, if someone said to me, what are some good starter dies? I love those. Those are spectacular dies. You'll see the measurements over here, and these measurements are mainly to get you started. There are some extra scores that are going to go into the pieces that are this size, but they involve some diagonal scoring, which is hard to write out in measurement form in writing. So that's why I like to do videos when there's those kinds of scores. And I think that's it. So let's go back to the desk, the table, and let's get started on crafting. Okay, so here's the designer paper, and I only have chunks of it. I'm sorry, Trisha may have to help me out with this, but I only have chunks of this paper, but you can see it's in traditional Christmas colors, so the red and green, plus a little bit of white in there. You can see flip sides have some fun designs on them as well. Seriously, I really don't have a sampling of one of each sheet. I made lots of cards, like 95 cards when I paired this up with one of our project tag kits, and I went through a lot of it. Here, let's see if we'll just flip this stack over. But you can see there's a few more designs. It's really pretty paper, and as of yesterday, it is still available. So we're going to be using a design from that pack that I have enough of. This one here, it's really pretty on both sides. It has the bells, but I thought that would be a little too loud for the box. So I'm picking this pattern. Now, speaking of pattern paper, this box is really the main focus of this video. You can adapt this box to any designer paper. So let's say you wanted to give out gifts to those of you who are in your wedding party, your bridesmaids and groomsmen or whatever. You could make this box to cater towards your wedding colors. Or let's say you want to just make a specific one for one person and they love frogs. You could go find some frog paper. So really you can use any kind of designer paper with this, but I'm just highlighting some of the products that are going to be leaving soon. And this is one of them. So is the Everything Essential stamp set. The tag punch is staying though, just so you know. All right, let's get our paper trimmer out and start cutting. We'll start with our cardstock, which is 8.5 by 11. And I'm just going to zoom out a bit so you can see it better. So here's our 8.5 by 11 cardstock. You can see the direction that I've got it facing right now. I'm going to cut this cardstock so that it is 3 3/4 inches by 9.5. So we're going to go into the trimmer and we're going to look at the 3 3/4 inch mark here. We're going to shove our paper up to that edge here so it's nice and straight. Got lots of fuzz. And we're just going to slice here. And you can see we're not slicing it in half. So we'll have plenty of cherry cobbler for another time or for the other pieces that we need. So we'll set that off to the right for just a minute. Now we want to cut it at 9.5. And your trimmer only goes to 6 1/4, but you have this arm. So you have an arm that extends on it. Love the Stampin' Trimmer. We have a lot of dirt on my table today. So yes, you can go all the way up to, gosh, 17 1/4 inches if you have paper that big. So let's go to the 9.5 inch mark and we're going to trim. And then we're going to put some score lines in here so that they're parallel to the short edge. So when I say parallel to the short edge, parallel means like this, right? All lined up like that. So we're going to score at 2 inches. We're using just the scoring blade now, so you want to shove that cutting blade out of the way. We're going to score at 2. We're going to score at 3. We're going to score at 5.5. Are you loving my measurements? I don't have any 16ths in this today. And then we are scoring at 7. Okay, so this is kind of the main part of our box. We're going to set this aside to the left here, and we're going to cut a couple other pieces here. Let's grab our, oh, I have them cut already, I think. Let me look. I think I do. Hang on. Are these them? 2.5 by 3. Yes, this is it. This is the one I want. So 2.5 by 3, and I need 2 pieces of those. And so I have those here, and we're going to score them on 3 sides. So we're going to score them and on the along the 2 long sides, and then we're going to score them on one of the short sides. So parallel to the long sides, we're going to score a 1/2 inch in. And I'm looking at the measurements on this side of my trimmer now. We're going to score a 1/2 inch in over here. And then we're going to score a 1/2 inch parallel to the short side on one end. Okay, we'll do that to this paper. So score, score, and score. Okay, now we want to take a pencil, a pretty sharp pencil, and I'm just going to use the 0 point of my trimmer, and this is 2.5 inches wide, so I'm going to set my paper so it's right along this 0 inches mark, which is the channel. And then I'm also going to look at the, make sure it's centered between those 2 marks, the 2.5 and the 0. I'm going to mark it, looking at my measurements up here, at the 2.5 and the 1 inch mark. Then I'm going to mark down here where my score lines intersect. Okay, and that's going to make it easier for me when I try to connect those 2 points here and these 2 points here through the channel of my trimmer arm. So we'll just line that up. That point is going to go here in the groove, and this point is going to be centered in there as well, and I can see them inside my little hole here in the channel of the trimmer arm. And I'm going to press down and score. Okay, so you can see what happened there. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Making sure that you can see those pencil marks in there. Push. Okay? Then we'll do the same thing to this one. So again, you want to center it between the 0 and the 2.5. And I've pulled it down enough where I can actually see the measurements up here. I'm going to mark it with my pencil here at 2.5. I'm sorry, that's not 2.5. That's 1.5. Sorry about that if I confused anyone. So this is 1.5, this is 1. Oh, and then mark down here too. You don't have to necessarily mark down here, but I think it's easier to see them through that little groove of your trimmer. Push. And we'll do this side here and push. Okay, so those are all set. Now we can set this aside for just a minute. You can come back in here and you can erase these marks. They may not be seen, but it's probably safe to just give them a little erase. And you know what I was going to do? I was going to flip them over to do the diagonal scores, because sometimes we're picky about which direction we score, but I'm not going to worry about that. It just kind of breaks the fibers in different directions, because these scores are going to go, these folds are going to go in opposite directions. This one, and this one are all going to go the way that I had, scored it. You always want to have your valley of your fold mark, your score mark, on the outside when you bend it. So the mountain usually is on the inside. See how the mountain's on the inside? But, I messed up. So now this way is we're gonna fold this way on those. Like that, okay? So let's do that to this one, and then we'll have those pieces kind of ready to go. We have to do something else to them first, but for now, those pieces are set, okay? So we'll set those over here. Now we need to prepare our one last piece that we're gonna cut our designer paper, and we're gonna cut a tiny little strip. Getting these over here. Here's my strip. Okay. So your strip is gonna be oops, you can't see that. Sorry. 1 1/4 inches, or 1 3/4 inches by 3/4 inches, okay? When you score this, it might be kind of difficult to do your 3/8 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch on each side when your paper is, there's nothing to hang on to. There's a little tip I have for you. If that bugs you, you can take and grab it with a Post-it note like that. Post-it notes are great for all kinds of extending things. So we'll just go like that, and you can score, you can move it again, and you can score, so this piece is ready. Or you can take just a longer strip, okay? And you can score at 3/8, 3/4, 1 3/8. Oops, 1 3/8. I'm looking at this side still, but on the last one, you have to flip it around, and that one you'll want at 1 3/4, and you're gonna slice it. So that's another way that you could do that tiny little piece. Either way works. Okay, for the designer paper, we want to have a piece that is 5.5 inches by 3 3/4, and you'll want to pay attention to the design. Sorry, let me point that out first. You can see how the little diamond shapes on here can go in different directions depending on which way you turn it, right? So you want to have them going in the same direction for your 3 3/4 inch mark. All right, so this is 5.5 by 3 3/4. Got to make sure it's 5.5. Hang on, and it's actually going to be a little over 5.5. We need just a tiny bit of leeway. It doesn't even have to be a 1/16 of an inch, but you don't want to be going exactly on that 5.5 inch mark, and you'll see why. So the next one, same direction with my design, 3 3/4 by 2.5. Okay, So my design again on the designer paper is a continuous flow with that 3 3/4 inch width. So those papers are ready. And what do I have left here? Checking. Okay, so I have my gold foil paper that we need to have for this. And for this piece here, I'm actually just gonna punch it with the 2-inch circle punch. So we'll just come in like this and punch it. If you punch upside down, you can see more so where you're going. So that's why, you know, people who punch for the first time, and I was one of them, so don't feel weird. But I would punch like this, and they'd be like, oh shoot, I didn't punch it all the way. Seriously, turn your punches upside down. It works. Then we need scraps for when we die cut our circles. So we're going to be die cutting. That's next. And we need a scrap of white that we're going to stamp and die cut. Let's move the trimmer aside. Lots of noise. Let's bring in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because this is a machine you can get right now. Oh, we got to stamp this one first. Let's pull in our stamp. This is our deer. We're going to use the deer, and we're using cherry cobbler ink. So we can just stamp that anywhere on this scrap because it's a big scrap. And we're going to die cut from it. So you just pounce up and down. These are our firm foam pads, so you don't have to put your weight onto the stamp when you're inking it up. You basically just have to tap it, kind of moving in different directions so that you get your ink coverage even. Then we'll just stamp it down, press firmly. I'm going to close this up because we don't need that anymore. Press that firmly. And that would be the problem if you were to actually push this down into your ink pad really hard. You'd get ink coming up along the edges here. And if you did that, you'd have to stamp not so firmly. It's better if you ink up light and stamp firmly, okay? All right, so let's die cut this guy. We'll do that one first. I just had this Silver Elite Retreat and pointed out, do I still have it over here? I do not. Lint rollers. Lint rollers are a great tool to have in your craft room for your machine, because you get these little pieces of cardstock, little flecks of cardstock. You can see it's not still very clean, but these boards get cut up. These little cutting plates get cut up, and they get embedded cardstock, fibers and stuff in there. And you can just kind of take care of some of that by using a lint roller on there. Oh my gosh, I got a little smear of ink. We're gonna keep going though. Okay. In my own time, I would probably just restamp that, but I'm not going to. Okay, we got that lined up. We've got our platform, our thin die adapter, and then we've got our paper and our dies positioned between the two cutting plates. We're rolling it through, and the two rollers inside this machine help to press down really hard to make this die cut through the paper. It's amazing. It's satisfying, as my kids would say, right? So there's the piece that's going to go on the front of our box. Then we need to die cut 4 of these same size circles, but these circles are going to become the handle on the Petite clutch bag. I love this idea from Angelina, so I'm excited to share this with you. What she did is she took her die and she took the smaller die and she connected them together with Post-it tape, Post-it flags, Post-it notes, anything that you can peel off pretty easily afterwards. In fact, I'm going to reposition this one because I don't think it's completely on there. Okay, so those are holding the two dies together, and when we cut through, they're going to cut evenly. We don't have to cut one time and then come back and cut the center. This is gonna make it lickety split quick. I'm also going to do something a little different where I'm gonna layer 2 pieces of cardstock. And why am I doing that? Because gonna eliminate some time. We're going to take these two pieces and we're gonna glue them together with some of this green capped glue, nicknamed green glue, or it's the multi-purpose liquid glue. We're gonna press those two together and we're gonna press these two together. Okay, so your handle is going to be 4 layers thick. My gosh, I am shedding, you guys. I'm sorry. I keep finding hair and little scraps of things on my table. It's a mess in here. Ick. I know. All right, so we've pressed those two together. Now we'll bring this back in here and we're going to take our set of dies. We'll center them. We'll squish them together and we'll die cut. And you're going to feel a little bit more pressure when you're doing 2 layers of cardstock versus 1. So you can see I'm really cranking a little bit harder in there. But in the end, it's a time saver. Okay, we don't want to peel off the tape. Oops, almost did that. What we want to do is just kind of pull this off. You're going to, oh, they came out. Great. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's pulled out, and you're just going to eliminate the center. You could use that for something else. This is perfect for a little tag. But there we have 2 papers that have been glued together and die cut together. This is the correct side. You can see, oops, here, we'll put it in the light. You can see the stitching on there. And then this is the non-correct side. It's not so distinct in the stitching. It's a little duller, okay? So let's do that one more time. Let's take our dies that have been lined up like that and bring them through again. Okay, and I think after this we have our parts and pieces pretty much ready to go. So we'll discard that. We'll pop this out. We'll pop that out. And we'll set the machine off to the side. Some of you may be wondering what the mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine looks like. It's this tiny and it's so cute. And I use it. Don't just let it sit there and be a decoration in your room, okay? You can always get new cutting mats, but look at this. It just uses one little platform. It's number 1, obviously. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm so excited. But yeah, it's fun to use, so I recommend it. It's nice. It's very fun. All right, here we go. Let's start assembling. So I do have my seal adhesive here. You don't necessarily need seal. In fact, I didn't even put it on the supply list because if you're using the green glue, it can do pretty much everything that the Stamp and Seal did too. So we're going to connect these, layer them together like that. So we have just a little bit of gold accenting around our focal point for our bag. We'll also be using the gilded gems on this, so that will give some more gold, hence the gold jewelry. All right, and then, oh yeah, and we need this. These are the stitch dies, by the way, all of them. This is what they look like. Okay, so you get lots of them. You get 4 of each of the 3 shapes, so circles, squares, and ovals. And I'm bringing this punch over because I want to remember I got to use that too. Okay, I think we're ready. So let's start by giving this a crease and a crease, and you'll notice that I'm making sure these edges are lining up when I fold. We've also got 2 folds in this direction, one here and one here. Now in the clutch bag that Vicki gave me, you can see it's wider at the bottom and narrower at the top. And that is the reason for this piece here. This allows you to pull in the bag a little bit tighter when it's time to close it. It gives it that purse look. It's so cute. All right, so we need to make our tabs. Oh, we're gonna cover this first. We're gonna cover this with our designer paper. And this is definitely the reason why you need the green capped glue or the multi-purpose liquid glue. If you don't have that glue, and you use a dry glue like a tape runner, you're gonna have a little bit of pulling and bunching and buckling. It's gonna be harder to get that designer paper onto the front of your box. So where is the front of the box? This is the wider base. This is the narrower part on the top. And when you look at it this way, you can see that this is going to be the front. So if you have a direction and an up and down on your designer paper, you want to, keep that in mind as you're doing this. So we're going to go ahead and use the green glue. Go carefully around the edges. Real thin line. I barely press on this. I barely squeeze on it when I use it. And this will get set onto this spot here. So it's centered between all those edges. Okay, and you have wiggle room. That's what's great about this. You can wiggle your paper. You can make it adjust if you need to. Let's pull it up and just kind of look to make sure it's coming to all the edges. Now, if you have any kind of seepage on your designer paper, I don't, but if I were to have a little bit of glue coming out, you'd want to wipe that off right away. In fact, you want to go to the dollar store, which is where I hear these things ended up. This is an ugly one, but it's an adhesive eraser, and this will help to eliminate some of that tacky glue that gets out on the outskirts of your project. You know what? While we're speaking of glue, let's just flip these over to the sides that are not the dominant sides, right? So these are the pretty sides, these are the back, and let's just glue those together. That way they'll have a little bit of time to dry. So just going around the outside edges, put them together, give them a little bit of a hold. It's nice to see your comments rolling in still. Yay, you're still with me. This is a fun box. I love it. I'm so glad that you're still with me. All right, this paper here is going to go on this side, and I'm not going to put any score lines into this because a 32nd of an inch could make a huge difference on this. It could bunch up and stuff. So what we're going to do, and what you could do if you're worried about it, is you could just cut your paper to these section sizes and mount them on there. But I think it gives a really nice flow if you can keep it all together at once. So when I put this on this section here, we're not doing the bottom, we're just doing the back, top, and the panel that comes over the top. When I cover that whole thing with this piece of paper, I'm going to be working quickly to make sure that it folds over and it's nice and smooth. And once it's folded, you pretty much want to keep it folded. You don't want to straighten it back out, or you can get kind of a buckling look. You see that there? So it doesn't need to straighten back out anyways. It's a clutch, right? It just kind of opens like this. But you can see what happens to the designer paper on top here. It gives it a little bit of a buckle. So here we go. We're putting it carefully around the outside edges. And this glue dries quickly. So when you're using it, you don't want to you don't want to set this aside and just say, oh, I'm going to do something else real quick. You don't. You don't want to. Let's line that up with the score line on the bottom here. And then make sure that as we lay it down, it's lining up with the edges on the sides here. You can shift it if you need to while it's still wet, which I just did. Press it, and then we're working quickly here. We've got that fold line in there. We're going to fold this way, and we're going to fold this way. And what we've done is we've made sure that that paper is going to dry in that folded direction. You can see just a slight amount. No, maybe you can't. I did pretty good there. There was like barely any designer paper beyond the 5.5 inches that I trimmed, and it did use it up. So you want to have just a little bit beyond the 5.5 inches, just in case it stretches or needs to, get a little bit longer to curve around that. Okay. All right. Let's let that dry. Let's trim this up. So this piece here, we're going to cut these corners out of, and we're also going to angle cut into the tabs. So you can see I not only cut the corner, but I cut beyond it at a slight angle. We'll do that on this side too. And if you don't know what I mean on that, let me demonstrate on this other one here. So you're going to cut the corner. That's just a straight cut corner. And then you're going to angle cut into the tabs. So you might as well just do it all at once, right? Angle cut, angle cut. That just helps tabs to fit into boxes better. You can also do it up here. Just kind of angle cut those two. And now we're ready to glue these in. So we're going to glue them like, okay, so here's the front, here's the bottom, here's the back. This piece is going to glue into here like that. So we want to put glue on this flap. And this was something that Angelina, why can't I remember her first name? Because I'm so used to Entwine Designs. She has some really cute 3D things, by the way. I like the way she did it. She pushed it right up to the edge like this, and then she just went like that. Like, oh, we learn things from each other. It's so cool. So that's stuck down. Let it dry a little bit. Do the same thing over here. Put a little glue on there. Bring it up to this mark. Oops, like that, and then press it down. Okay, this little guy here is going to become the handle for our handle. So it gets folded like that, like a little staircase step or something. You step up, step down. And that's what this is going to go inside of, and it's going to get glued to the top. Ooh, you can see we didn't hold it down very long. It was opening up on me, you guys. I wonder if I need to glue that down again. Well, now it's stuck. It's stuck now. Okay, so let's take and glue these tabs next. I think I'm going to glue the back ones first. So just put a little glue here and a little glue here. And those are going to meet up with the back side of the box. So like that. Oops, I'm going to hold it down so I can press it firmly. So that's going to get pressed there, and this one is going to get pressed. Let's open that so you can see. That one's going to get pressed in here. Okay, and you make sure that the edge where the fold is meets up with the edge of the box. Do the same thing to both sides. Don't worry about the diagonal creases yet, because you don't want to fold those in again like we did at the beginning until it's pretty dry. These tabs need to get glued next. So we'll just put glue onto each. Like that. And when you put this down, you want to be careful because it's going to connect to both sides kind of at the same time. So you can see how I held onto the edges here. You also want to feel inside there and get rid of any tacky glue that might have seeped. Mine did not, which is good. Yay. Happy. I'm happy. Okay, we're getting towards the end. We have the handle, we have the fillers, and we have, I think that's it. Oh, we got to do the little corners. That's why I brought this punch over. I did not want to forget it. So this punch is called our trio, something trio punch. Let me look. It's called our detailed trio punch. So this detailed trio punch, you can use after this paper has connected. You can actually do it before you assemble, those tabs there, but you can do it afterwards too. I think I've done it afterwards on all of my boxes that I made. You can even flip it over if that works. But you basically want to bring this corner and this corner into the punch, so it's going to have a rounded corner on it, And you can see how the bottom looks here. It's got, you know, a room for just a corner of a piece of cardstock to fit in there. You'll line up that, hang on. You'll line up the edges of your corner into your punch so that they're, you know, you don't have any gappage on either side here. It makes sure that it's all the way in. Then punch it down. Turn it around, and again, you could punch it going this way. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so those tabs, those sides are now cut. We're going to add a Velcro closure. You could do a belly band, you could do a magnetic closure, you could do ribbon, but in order to close it, you can see we have to make sure that those scores are now scored and folded. So we're going to crease them again. We're going to pull this over the top. And we want to add this little fun Velcro closure that you could get at your craft store or whatever. It's got, it's kind of like the same one that Angelina used, where it's got white on one side and it's got clear on the other. So the clear you want, obviously would want to have here on this part. The white would be underneath. So we're going to expose the white, and we're going to take our ruler. I think I mentioned using a ruler, but we're going to take our ruler and we're going to find the center point. So here's my 3 3/4 inch measurement on that width of the box. If I didn't want to do the math to figure out what half of 3 3/4 is, I could then instead shift it so that my 0 is further over and my 4 is showing. They're both 1/8 of an inch away from each side. Do you see that? This is a math trick, you guys. So now that I've got that, I know what half of 4 is. It's 2. So I'm just going to make sure that this is centered right at the 2-inch mark. Fun. Now we can peel off this side. And we can close the box, making sure that the edges are lining up, and press that down. And I would just let that sit for a minute. We can open it up soon. This piece is going to go on the top of the box, and you can see it's going to go right up to the edge, the edges here. So when we put this on, we want to make sure that it stays within those areas. So again, I'm going to get my green glue going. And I think I'm only going to put one tab down first. Oh, here, let's use that trick again. So here's our 0 to 4. We're going to put our tab on here so that it's right at that 2-inch mark. So I can see my 2 inches is right here. So I want to make sure that I'm getting it in that spot. That's pretty good. And then this one will get shoved over here. And because it's still wet, oops, because it's still taking time to dry, I can check it again. It looks good. But if I had to shift it over a little bit, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Oh, get the handle in there. Oh my gosh, Rachel, I did that one other time too. Get the handle in there before it bonds. Ah, yay, did it. Okay, so there's that. Is that the cutest little handle? I love it. All right, now we can open up our box. Oh, let's put this on. No, let's open up our box first, because you want to peel with your fingers. Make sure that you're pressing the Velcro real firm onto both sides now. So we've lifted it up now that it had time to bond, and we're going to press it real firm. Then we're going to get this guy ready, and this guy is going to have 3 dimensionals. If you want to add more, you certainly can. Let's put this back on here. Let's add 1, 2, 3 in those spots. Okay? And it's okay if they're closer together than they really would need to be, but we don't want to put them directly on this back of this circle, because if we do, we might accidentally have some dimensionals that stick out when we open up our flap. So then you can eyeball this, and you can set that on there. we can grab our gilded gems and our take your pick tool, and we can put a large one up here, a small one. I love that these come in 3 different sizes on the sheet. A small one here, and then a medium sized one. You can see I love them because I use them up. A medium one down here. And on the inside of our clutch, we can fill it with some candy. You can do all kinds of candy. I chose these Hershey's Kisses. I've got a gift card to put in there. So that fits in there real nice, doesn't it? So that's on the inside of that one. On the inside of this one that I pre-made, we have Dove chocolates that are in the gold and red colors. So you can color coordinate your boxes. On the inside of this one, I have some green Hershey's Kisses. And you can see there's a bow or some linen thread on the inside. That is because I pierced a hole and used it to hold on to these fun little jingle bells. So these jingle bells are also on clearance. They're going away, or close out or whatever. They come in the colors that coordinate with this paper. So the cherry cobbler and the shaded spruce and the gold. So I just took and put them onto a piece of linen thread, pierced 2 holes, made the linen thread come through here, and tied a bow, a knot and then a bow. And that's the other image from the set that's Christmassy, the joy to the world. So there's that one. Let's see here. You know, I did try, I'm just going to pull these out so you can see them. I did try, let's zoom out a bit here too. I did try different chocolates. So the Ghirardellis fit, but they kind of slide back and forth in there. And then this chocolate here, which is a favorite of a lot of people, but it's not gluten-free, so I can't eat it anymore. The Ferrero Rocher chocolates, you can, if you push really hard, fit them in this width. But my recommendation is if you're going to use that kind of chocolate, which would be really fancy in here, is to just make the measurements 4 inches wide instead of 3 3/4. Your gift card won't fit as cute, but it will fit. So here are the different boxes. So if you wanted to see them all at once. That was fun. That was very fun to make. Oh, and the extra supplies that you'll see in the supply list would be things like the linen thread and a needle threader. I just, get these at the craft store along with the Velcro dots. And that just helps to make my linen thread go into tiny little holes that I pierced with my Take Your Pick tool piercer. And then the shaded spruce ink was also listed there because that's the color that I used on this portion of the box. We have prizes. So I'm going to pull out the prizes. Now these prizes you're going to laugh at, especially if you were watching 2 videos ago. So 2 videos ago, I think it was that one. It was flustering. I had so many bloopers, I think is what some of you were calling them. But one of those bloopers that just kind of topped it off for me was that my glue dots that I had in my stash were mounted the wrong way. I'm just going to open one up and share that with you. So they're mounted on this portion instead of along here. So it caused some coordination issues when I was doing the video, and it was just kind of like the icing on the cake. I'm like, oh my gosh, can one more thing go wrong? I found out that I had several boxes of those. Stampin' Up! Told me to keep them. They're replacing mine with glue dots that are mounted correctly, but they told me I could keep these, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to demonstrate with them in a live video anymore. So this is the prize for today, and then of course the after prize winner next week when we call that out. So if Trisha picks your name, and we're going to do 2 winners, 2 of you will get 2 sets of glue dots, okay? They're flawed, but they still are great glue dots. You just don't want to do them in a live video. All right, so that's the prize that we're drawing for today. And then the prize from last week, we have one more winner. I think this is the prize, yeah. So we have a couple containers, and I think these are gone already. Or maybe these were the ones that were gone for sure last week. But they're the snowflake stickers. So I have a sampling of those, and then I have the snowflake sequins. 2 containers of them. So that is the prize for, let me pull up her name so that we can congratulate her. Oops, hang on, I did that wrong. There we go. Yay! Judy! Judy Charnock Nelhams. I think that's how you say your last name. Anyways, I know how to say your first name. Judy, congratulations. So if you're watching live, that's great. But I will try to comment in your comment to make you aware that you were one of the 100 commenters that won. You had a 1 in 100 chance and you won. Way to go, girl. So contact me. My email is up here at the top. And let's go back and see who our winner is from today. Our winners. So Trisha's going to draw 2 winners if she hasn't done so already. She's probably, the timing of these things are so, like, there's 30 seconds difference from when I go live to when you all see what I share. But it's funny because she starts calling the winner way before, I don't expect it. I think she tries to time it. It's really interesting how it comes up. But she's going to be drawing for the 2 winners. We're going to do 2 winners today for those glue dots. The fractured, flawed glue dots. If you live outside the US, by the way, you can still get a prize. I have tutorials also that you could choose from. And even the US winners, you always have an opportunity to say, you know what, I don't want the product prize. I would rather have a tutorial sent to me via email. The other prize option is a card that I've demoed in a past video. Let's scroll again to see if she has picked a winner. Picked 2 winners. I missed them. If you already drew them, Trisha. I'm so sorry. I'm scrolling to see where you might have tagged me. Not yet. It's coming. All right. What else do I want to share? Next Wednesday, December 23rd. I'm taking next Wednesday off. Hope that's okay. Oh, there they are. There's the winners. Yay. Thank you, Trisha. Vaughn E. and Deb Standifer. Vaughn, I see your posts often, so congratulations. It's nice to see somebody who comments a lot. And I'm sorry, Deb, if you comment a lot, I didn't notice, but congratulations to both of you. That's so awesome. You get the glue dots and or the sample card and or the tutorial. Congratulations to the winners. Make sure you reach out to me via email. It's the live winners that I don't have a way of contacting. I don't know, I can't actually go in and respond to your comments after the live. So I'm taking next week off, which means we're going to just postpone 2 weeks from now. Those of you that are watching this after the live, you have 2 weeks to comment and get in on a prize drawing of fractured, flawed glue dots. December 30th is when I'll return at 11 a.m. Central Time. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. And also, I think there's a bell there still. If you click on that, it should do something with notifications. I don't know if it gets emailed to you anymore, but at least when you're on YouTube, like you have things along the side. I do. I get notifications that way that someone has got a video coming or whatever. What else? Oh, there's also a thumbs up button. And I forget to mention this, but some of you do this for me. Thank you for being my cheerleaders. Please give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed what you saw. And remember to visit my blog for this information. If you want to shop for products, you can shop there as well. And again, if you're a demonstrator, shop from yourself to get the discount. If you are not a demonstrator and you have a demonstrator, shop from them, please. And thank you for joining me on YouTube. I think that's all I wanted to share today. Don't forget to shop the closeouts and clearance stuff. Fun stuff on sale. The next catalog will go live on January 5th, along with that mini stamp and cut and emboss machine. Lots of fun stuff ahead. Enjoy your holidays, everyone. It's going to be weird not to see you for 2 weeks, but I hope that you have a great time with family and stay safe. We will see you in 2 weeks on December 30th. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.